Hello there. Hope you are doing well. So here we have one of the passages, reading comprehension passage, and the direction for question is. So the direction for question is answer the following question based on the information given below. Well, I do expect that you must have gone through the text. Yet I would like to give a small um, means a small idea pertinent to this particular text. So, what does the text try to tell us? Let's go for a kind of quick reading activities, and then after we will go for the discussion of it. So the text begins with what? If I felt your warm and generous welcome less, I should be better able to thank you. If I could have listed as you have listed, listened to the, sorry, if I could have listened as you have listened to the glowing language of your distinguished chairman, and if I could have heard as you uh, heard the heard the thoughts that breath and words that burn, which he has uttered. It would have gone hard, but I should have caught some portion of his enthusiasm and kindled at his example. But every word which fell from his lips and every demonstration of sympathy and approbation with which you received his eloquent expressions causes me unable to respond to his kindness and leaves me at last all heart and no lips desiring to respond as I would do to your cordial greeting, possessing heaven knows the will and desiring only to find the way. The way to your good opinion, favor, and support has been to me very pleasing, a path strewn with flowers and cheered with sunshine. I feel as if I stood amongst old friends, whom I had intimately known and highly valued. I feel as if the deaths of the fictitious creatures in which you have been kind enough to express an interest had endeared us to each other as real afflictions, deepened friendships in actual life. I feel as if they had been real persons, whose fortunes we had pursued together in inseparable connection, and that I had never known them apart from you. It is difficult thing for a man to speak for himself or of his words, but perhaps on this occasion I may, without impropriety, venture to say a word on the spirit in which mine were convinced. I felt an honest and humble desire, and shall do till I die, to increase the stock of harmless cheerfulness. I felt that the world was not utterly to be despised, that I was worthy of living in for many regions. I was anxious to find, as the professor had said, if I could in evil things that soul of goodness which the Creator has put in them. I was anxious to show that virtue may be found in the by wage of the world, that it is not incompatible with poverty and even with rags, and to keep steadily through life the motto, expressed in the burning words of your northern poet. The rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's the gout for that. And in following this track, where could I have better assurance that I was right? Or where could I have stronger assurance to cheer me on than in your kindness on this too me memorable night? I am anxious and glad to have an opportunity of saying a word in reference to one incident in which I am happy to know you were interested, and still more happy to know, though it may sound paradoxical, that you were disappointed. I mean the death of the little heroine when I first conceived the idea of conducting that simple story to its termination. I determined rigidly to adhere to it and never to forsake the end I had in view. Not untried in the school of affliction, in the death of those we love, I thought, what a good thing it would be if, in my little work of pleasant amusement, I could substitute a garland of fresh flowers for the sculptured horrors which disgrace the town. Now, we have just read the text, and what does this text actually try to point out? The passage is nothing but considering as a speech, or you can talk about address, isn't it? Given by an author to an audience, you could say. Um, the author expresses gratitude. The author expresses what? Gratitude for the warm reception and support shown by the audience, attributing it to their shared emotional investment right? In the author's works, the author reflects on the spirit in which their works were conceived, emphasized desired to spread cheerfulness and virtue, even in the you can say that unconventional settings. Additionally, the author discusses what you can talk about their commitment to adhering to the storyline. So, particularly regarding the fate of a character to offer a more uplifting perspective on death, isn't it? So that is what you could find out. The whole text is trying to point out. And if you talk about the main idea of the text, so the main idea of the passage is what the author's works. Author works are conceived with an you can say that honest and humble desire to increase the stock of harmless cheerfulness. The author expresses nothing but, as I told you, gratitude, right? So, the gratitude for the audience support and reflects on their commitment to portraying a virtue in unconventional settings while offering a more upliftment perspective on difficult subject, isn't it? So, and the next one, if you talk about the style. So, what is the style of the passage? The passage is written in nothing but a formal and you can talk about reflective style, formal and reflective style, suitable for a speech or address to an audience. The language used is nothing but called as a very fluent or eloquent, you can say that, and expressive with phrases like you can talk about thoughts that breath and words that burn. Thoughts that means what do we say that breath and words that burn, and desiring to respond. So this is what you can find out as I would do to your cordial greetings. So, beside that, the author employs rhetorical devices such as repetition, where he pointed, I feel, and imagery, paths tuned with flowers and cheered with the sunshine. Such kind of a statement to engage the audience and convey their message effectively. So, therefore, you can talk about it as a purely formal one. Now, moving to the next one could be referred as a tone of the text. So I could say that the tone of the passage is nothing but appreciative one, uh, as it is a formal one, appreciative, and you could say that a reflexive one, right? Or reflective, and you can also say that earnest, right? So the author expresses gratitude for the audience support and emphasizes their sincere desire to spread cheerfulness and virtue through their works. There is also a sense of, you can say that, humility, as the author acknowledged the difficulty of speaking about oneself or one's work. Overall, the tone is nothing but called as a uh, heartfelt or kindness, right? Um, and genuine, with a touch of optimism and conviction in the author's beliefs. Right. So these are the things that you find out the text about the text, about the style and tone, as well as we talk about main idea of the text. Now moving to the question. So what does the question point out? Which of the following statements, if true, does not weaken the passage? Right, claim that the author's works were conceived with an honest and humble desire to increase the stock of harmless cheerfulness. Now, if you look into that, the question asks uh, which statement, if true, right, does not weaken the passage claim that the author's work were conceived with an honest and humble desire to increase the stock of harmless cheerfulness, isn't it? Now, let's look at each of the choices which are pointed here. The first choice stated that the author expressed a deep gratitude for the warm reception and support shown by the audience and felt encouraged by their enthusiasm. So the author expressed a deep gratitude for the warm reception and support mm, shown by the audience and felt encouraged by their enthusiasm. So this choice reinforces the passage claim. So uh, what does it do? Reinforces, well, you can say that the passage claim by showing how the audience warm reception motivates and encourages the author. So it aligns with the idea that the author's You can say that authors' works aim to spread cheerfulness. However, you can't consider that option one weaken the claim. So therefore, option one can be eliminated here. Now, moving to the second option. So, but before we go to the second option, means the author aimed to do what? Portrait virtue in unconventional settings, demonstrating that it can exist even in poverty and adversity. So, in that case, we can say that any statement which is pointing to that will be supporting, isn't it? So, that's what you would find out here. Let's discuss more about it. So, if you say that mm, the author was determined to adhere strict to the storyline, right? If you see the option three and option two stated the author aimed to portray virtue in unconventional setting, demonstrating that it can exist even in poverty and adversity, right? Um, in that case, can we consider the author aimed to portray virtue in unconventional setting? Then after it is stated that demonstrating that it can exist even in poverty and adversity. So if you see that option two choice supports the passage claim by highlighting the author's intention to depict virtue in unconventional circumstances, right? Showing that cheerfulness can exist even in, you can talk about adversity, right? Poverty and adversity. Um, in that case, it doesn't weaken the claim actually. So the author was determined. If you look into the third option where it is stated the author was determined. So option one and two are eliminated. Third said the author was determined to adhere strictly to the storyline, particularly regarding the fate of our key characters, aiming to offer a more upliftment perspective on death. So the author was determined to adhere strictly to the storyline, particularly regarding the fate of a key character. So this choice focuses on the what author's determination to stick to the storyline, particularly regarding the you can say that faith. Mm, so that's what you would find out, particularly in the fate of a character. While it doesn't directly reinforce the claim, it also doesn't weaken it. Instead, it reinforces the idea that the author's work aimed to offer a more uplifting perspective on difficult subjects like death. Therefore, you can say that it doesn't weaken the passage claim. The author felt uh, a strong connection to the audience. That's what it is given, considering them as old friends and express gratitude for their shared emotional investment in the character of the stories. So, this choice emphasized the author's connection with the audience and their shared emotional investment in the stories. It strengthens the idea that you could say the author's work aimed to spread cheerfulness by fostering emotional connection with the readers. However, it doesn't directly weaken the claim. So, therefore, you can consider option four is eliminated. So, option one, two, four are eliminated. And therefore, we can see option three could be a correct one. Option three stated the author was determined to uh, abide strictly to the storyline, particularly regarding the fate of a key character. So, option three is correct because it doesn't weaken the passage claim that the author's works were conceived with an earnest and humble desire to increase the stock of harmless cheerfulness. Instead, it you can say that uh, it reinforces the claim by highlighting the author's commitment to offering a more upliftment perspective on difficult subjects such as death. The author's determination to adhere strictly to the storyline, particularly regarding the fate of a character, isn't it? And you can say that mm, um, just- so what do we find out? We can say that fate of a character that aligns with the overall theme of spreading cheerfulness through their work. So therefore, if we talk about that, means other options like 1, 2, and 4, they are incorrect because they are all either directly does what? Now, either directly supports, right, the passer's claim, or do not directly weaken actually. So do not directly weaken. So we can what? You can say that we can to the question. While these options provide additional context about the, you can say that authors gratitude, intention, and connection with the audience, they do not weaken the central idea that the author's works aim to spread what? Cheerfulness. Cheerfulness. Therefore, they cannot be considered correct answer to the question that has been asked. So, hence, we can consider option 3 would be the most appropriate answer to this question. I hope you understood this. That's all. Thank you.